Chapter 1. What is in our power and what is not. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and in one word, whatever are not our own actions. Chapter 2. Dealing with what is not in our control. Now, the things in our control are by nature free, unrestrained, unhindered. But those not in our control are weak, slavish, restrained, belonging to others. If you suppose that things slavish by nature are also free, and that things belonging to others are your own, then you will be hindered, you will lament, you will be disturbed, and you will find fault both with gods and men. But if you suppose that only to be your own, which is your own, and what belongs to others, such as it really is, then no one will ever compel you or restrain you. You will find fault with no one. You will accuse no one. You will do nothing unwillingly. You will have no enemy, and no one will harm you. Chapter 3. Remembering the nature of things. With regard to whatever objects give you delight, are useful, or are deeply loved, remember to tell yourself, this is the kind of thing that passes away. What I love is not my own. It has merely been given to me. With regard to everything that causes you pain, remember to tell yourself, this is the kind of thing that ceases to cause pain. When you are stung by pain, always say to yourself, every pain is finite. Chapter 4. Preparing for external encounters. When you are about to take some action, remind yourself what sort of action it is. If you are going out to bathe, picture to yourself the things that usually happen at the baths. Some people splash you with water, some push against you, some insult you, others steal from you. And thus, you will more safely undertake the action if you say to yourself, I want to bathe, and I want also to keep my choice in accord with nature, and so in every action. For thus, if anything hinders you in bathing, you will readily say, well, this was not the only thing I wanted, but I wanted also to keep my choice in accord with nature, and you will not be vexed at what has happened. Chapter 5. The source of disturbance. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Thus death is nothing terrible, for even Socrates did not regard it as such, but the terror consists in our notion of death, that it is terrible. When, therefore, we are hindered or disturbed or grieved, let us never blame anyone but ourselves, that is, our own judgments. For this is universally true, that every man is hindered and disturbed by nothing but his own opinions. Chapter 6. Responding to others' distress. When you see anyone weeping in sorrow, either because his son has gone abroad or because he has suffered in his affairs, take care not to be overcome by the appearance, but say to yourself, he is grieved by this, because this has seemed to him to be a calamity. But it is not safe to grieve outwardly too, and thus to make yourself appear to grieve with him. On the contrary, you should even rejoice with him so far as his outward appearance goes, but be careful not to rejoice inwardly too. Chapter 7. Life as a sea voyage. As a ship, when it has once been brought into the harbor, is safe, whether the stern be broken or the rudder lost, so is it with life. When a man has once reached the harbor of death, he is safe from storms and waves and every fear. Chapter 8. Aligning our will with events. Demand not that that events should happen as you wish, but wish that events should happen as they do happen, and your life will flow smoothly. Chapter 9. Impediments. And the will disease is an impediment to the body, but not to the will, unless the will itself chooses. Lameness is an impediment to the leg, but not to the will. And say this to yourself with regard to everything that befalls you, for you will find that while it is an impediment to something else, it is not truly an impediment to yourself. Chapter 10. Our abilities in the face of accidents. With every accident, ask yourself what abilities you have for making a proper use of it. If you see a handsome person, you will find that you have the ability to exercise continence. If pain befalls you, you will find the ability to exercise fortitude. If you hear reviling language, you will find that you have the ability to exercise patience, and thus habituate yourself to do. With regard to everything that presents itself to you, say, I have the ability to deal with this. Chapter 11. On loss and restoration. Never say about anything, I have lost it, but say, I have restored it. Is your child dead? It has been restored. Is your wife dead? She has been restored. Has your estate been taken away? That also has been restored. But it was a bad man who took it away. What is it to you? By whose instrumentality the giver demanded it back. So long as he gives it to you, take care of it, as of a thing not your own, as the traveler does with his inn. Chapter 12. The desire to appear wise. If you wish to make progress, be content to appear senseless and foolish. With regard to externals, do not desire to seem wise. And if you should appear to some to be a person of importance, distrust yourself. For you should know that it is difficult to both keep your will in accord with nature and at the same time acquire external things. But while you are necessarily careful about the one, you must necessarily neglect the other. Chapter 13. Using our faculties with external things. When anything happens to you that is external, remember to turn to yourself and inquire what faculty you have for making use of it. If you see a handsome person, you will find that you have the faculty of continence. If pain is brought to bear on you, you will find the faculty of endurance. If you hear foul language, you will find that you have the faculty of patience, and thus habituate yourself in this way. In general, let it be your practice with regard to all things external to inquire what faculty you have for dealing with them. Chapter 14. Maintaining self-respect. Never value anything as of great advantage to you that will force you to break your word or lose your self-respect. For although you should act with regard to everything else according to your ability, yet keep your self-respect without fail. Chapter 15. Avoiding envy. When you see someone honored before others, or possessing great power, or highly esteemed for any reason, take care not to be carried away by the appearance. For if the reality is among the things that are not in our control, there will be no envy in it. But if the reality is among the things that are in our control, do not envy him, but rejoice. And if he does not keep possession of what is in his control, pity him. Chapter 16. Adapting our will to what happens. Do not let your will run in opposition to what happens, but adapt it to what happens, and you will find peace. Chapter 17. The fleeting nature of delight. With regard to whatever objects give you delight, are useful, or are deeply loved, remember to tell yourself, This is the kind of thing that passes away. What I love is not my own. It has merely been given to me. Chapter 18. Considering consequences before action. When you are about to take some action, remind yourself what sort of action it is. If you are going out to bathe, picture to yourself the things that usually happen at the baths. Some people splash you with water, some push against you, some insult you, others steal from you. And thus, you will more safely undertake the action if you say to yourself, I want to bathe, and I want also to keep my choice in accord with nature, and so in every action. For thus, if anything hinders you in bathing, you will readily say, well, this was not the only thing I wanted, but I wanted also to keep my choice in accord with nature, and you will not be vexed at what has happened. Chapter 19. Examining the power of our words and deeds. When you say or do anything, consider what the consequences will be, and when you have considered them, you will never do anything amiss. Chapter 20. Hardship and our judgment. When anything looks like a hardship, be always ready with this thought. This is no misfortune. To bear it nobly is good fortune. Chapter 21. Responding to those who don't understand. When someone acts badly toward you or speaks ill of you, remember that he does this or says this because he thinks it is his duty. It is not possible that he should suppose one thing to be his duty and do another. Therefore, if he judges wrongly, it is he who is hurt, because he is the one who is deceived. For if anyone supposes that what is false is true, it is not the judgment itself that is hurt, but he who is deceived by it. Beginning then with this thought, you will meet reviling with mildness, for you will say on each occasion, so it seemed to him. Chapter 22. The role of the actor. Remember that you are an actor in a drama, of such sort as the author chooses. If short, then short. If long, then long. If he wishes you to act a poor man, see that you act the part naturally. If a cripple, or a magistrate, or a private person, for this is your business, to play admirably the part assigned you, but to choose it belongs to another. Chapter 23. Interpreting omens. When a raven croaks ominously, do not allow yourself to be carried away by the appearance, but say immediately, this signifies nothing to me, but only to my paltry body, and my paltry property, and my paltry reputation, and my paltry children, or my paltry wife. But to me, it signifies nothing at all. And if you reflect thus, and whenever anything of this sort happens to you, you will find that nothing ominous is presented to you, but only something or other relating to those things which are not in our control. Chapter 24. The path to unconquerability. You may be unconquerable if you enter into no combat in which it is not in your own power to conquer. When you see anyone gaining a preference over you in honor, or in power, or in reputation, take care not to allow yourself to be overpowered by the appearance. For if that which has the preference is not one of the things that are in our own power, it is of no importance to you. But if it is one of the things that are in our own power, and you have failed to secure it, then be ashamed. Chapter 25. Understanding wrongdoing. When anyone does you a wrong or speaks ill of you, remember that he believes that he is doing right. It is not possible that he should suppose one thing to be right and do another. Therefore, if he judges wrongly, it is he who is hurt, because he is the one who is deceived. For if anyone supposes that what is false is true, it is not the judgment itself that is hurt, but he who is deceived by it. Beginning then with this thought, you will meet reviling with mildness, for you will say on each occasion, "So it seemed to him." Chapter 26. The brevity of existence. Consider that before you were born, and how long a time it was that you did not exist, and this, in no respect, differs from the time after your death. Chapter 27. Finding pleasure in what is our own. When you have an opportunity to be pleased with anything, turn to yourself and inquire what part of you it is that is pleased. If it is your paltry reason, then you will be pleased with something that is in your own control. Chapter 28. The importance of inner character. Let no one ever say that you are not genuine or sincere, and let no one ever have it in his power to say so with truth. Let your thoughts be such that if anyone should suddenly ask you what you are thinking about, you may be able to answer simply and sincerely, "I am thinking about this," so that from your thoughts it may be plain that all is simple and benevolent, and such as befits a social animal, and one that cares not for thoughts about pleasure or sensual enjoyments at all, nor for contentiousness or envy or suspicion, nor for anything else for which you would blush to own that you were thinking about it. For such a person is one of those who have purified their own mind. Chapter 29. Recognizing our own faults. When you find fault with anyone's want of ability, you should turn to yourself and consider your own failings of the same kind. For where were your eyes when you failed to see your own faults? Or why did you not remember them? You show yourself keen to find fault with others, but careless about your own. Chapter 30. Abiding by our moral rules. Whatever moral rules you have deliberately proposed to yourself, abide by them as if they were laws, and as if you would be guilty of impiety if you transgressed any of them, and do not regard what anyone says of you, for this is no longer in your own control. Chapter 31. Considering the examples of sages. When you are going to meet with anyone, especially with one of those who seem to be persons of consequence, put before yourself what Socrates or Zeno or some other of the kind would have done under similar circumstances, and you will not be at a loss what to do yourself. Chapter 32. Preparing for encounters with power. When you are going to visit anyone in power, propose to yourself that you will not find him at home, that you will be excluded, that the door will not be opened to you, that he will take no notice of you. If with all this it is your duty to go and bear what happens with fortitude, and never say to yourself, "It was not worth my while." For if you act according to moral principle, no evil can befall you. Chapter 33. Principles for action and thought. In your actions, do not procrastinate. In your conversations, do not be shifting or insincere. In your thoughts, do not be flighty. Do not be selfish or discontented. Chapter 34. Viewing pain from another perspective. When you have imagined something painful, accustom yourself to think of it also from another point of view. What if this is not really painful at all, or at any rate, if it is, how long is it likely to last? Chapter 35. On loss and restoration. Never say about anything, "I have lost it," but say, "I have restored it." Is your child dead? It has been restored. Is your wife dead? She has been restored. Has your estate been taken away? Has not this also been restored? But he who has taken it away is a bad man. What difference does it make to you through whose agency the giver has demanded it back? So long as he gives it to you, take care of it as something not your own, as a traveler does with an inn. Chapter 36, on maintaining our role and avoiding distractions. As at a banquet, the dishes are passed around to you. Extend your hand then, and take your share with moderation. If they pass you by, do not stop them. If your share does not come to you yet, do not stretch your desire towards it, but wait until it reaches you. Act in this way towards children, towards a wife, towards public office, towards wealth. Then you will be a worthy guest at the banquet of life. Chapter 37, the power of our opinions. Things themselves have no hold on the soul, nor can they approach it of themselves, either to move or divert it. But the soul itself moves itself alone and transforms the things which present themselves to it. If then it assumes that these things are bad, it becomes bad. If it assumes that they are good, it becomes good. If it assumes that they are indifferent, it becomes indifferent. Chapter 38, choosing the better course. As the Meleager, when he was bidden by his father to kill his mother, did not do it, but said that it was a fine thing to help one's father, but a finer thing to help one's mother. So also we should say with regard to things. It is right to do this, but it is more right to do that. The comparison of things with one another is plain. Chapter 39, approaching divination. When you wish to have an answer from divination, put away all considerations of every kind and nature, and think only of the thing concerning which you are consulting it. Otherwise, if you bring any of your own desires or fears with you, these will inevitably bias you and lead your mind astray. Chapter 40, understanding the motives of others. When anyone acts wrongly toward you or speaks ill of you, remember that he does this or says this because he thinks it is fitting for him. Now, it is not fitting for you to think that things appear to you in the same way that they do to him. Therefore, be gentle towards him and say to yourself that he is mistaken in his judgment, and thus you will pity him rather than be angry with him. For just as we do not get angry with the lame or the blind, so also we ought not to get angry with those who do wrong. For each man thinks that he is doing right. Chapter 41, turning inward when disturbed from everything outside you which draws you away to sorrow. Call yourself back to the things within you, and first of all examine what power you have to deal with it. If you find that you have power, then you must not allow yourself to be carried away by it. But if you find that you have no power, then you must say to yourself, this is nothing to me. Chapter 42, the two causes of weakness. Consider that the things which happen to you are either such as affect you in respect of your body, or your property, or your reputation, or your wife and children. Now, if they affect you in respect of your body, then you must say to yourself, this is nothing to me. If they affect you in respect of your property, then you must say to yourself, this is nothing to me. If they affect you in respect of your reputation, then you must say to yourself, this is nothing to me. If they affect you in respect of your wife or children, then you must say to yourself, this is nothing to me. For all these things are outside the sphere of your moral purpose. Chapter 43, no one can harm us without our consent. No one has it in his power to prevent you from choosing rightly, but no one else has it in his power to make you choose wrongly. Therefore, if you choose rightly, you will be blameless. But if you choose wrongly, you will be blameworthy. Chapter 44. The importance of having a goal. Is a mark of want of genius to spend much time in things relating to the body, as, for instance, to be long in our exercises, in eating and drinking, and other evacuations of the body. These should be done incidentally and slightly, and our whole attention be engaged in the care of the understanding. Chapter 45. Speaking deliberately. When anyone talks to you too quickly, do not say to him, "You are talking too quickly," but say, "Speak more slowly." Chapter 46. Focusing on what is our own. Do not busy yourself with the opinions of others. Confine yourself to those matters which are your own and in which you have the power to act rightly. Chapter 47. Responding to slander. When anyone tells you that someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself against what he says, but reply, "He does not know my other faults, or he would not have mentioned these alone." Chapter 48. The nature of oaths. Consider what is said when anyone swears an oath. He says that he will do something. Now, what is it that he swears he will do? He swears that he will do what is possible for him. Therefore, if anyone swears that he will do what is impossible, he is a fool. Chapter 49. Displaying our moral purpose. When anyone sells horses or cattle, he drives them before him and shows them. But do you drive your moral purpose before you and show it? Chapter 50. The role of our judgment. That thing itself holds nothing fearful. It is your judgment about it that creates the fear. So when something troubles you, it's not the thing itself that's disturbing you, but rather your opinion about it. Stop that judgment then, and immediately the disturbance ceases. Chapter 51. The mark of the untrained and the philosopher. This is the mark of the untrained. He never seeks from himself benefit or harm, but always from externals. This is the mark of the philosopher. He seeks all his benefit or harm from himself. Chapter 52. The indifference of external things, the body and property and reputation and honor and everything else of this kind are all outside the sphere of our moral purpose. Chapter 53. Responding to others' grief with understanding. Then, when you see another weeping or mourning, do not be proud, but remember that this happens to one man and that it does not happen to another. But what then? Is it absolutely certain that he has met with any actual evil? Perhaps it is not as you suppose, but at all events, even if he has, how do you know that it is not for his good that he should weep? And in the first place, do not show your ill will to him, but sympathize with him, and even weep with him if the occasion requires. But take care that you do not weep inwardly. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.